if you've experienced tremendous trauma in your life, don't be surprised if your financial situation feels like a mess, if saving feels impossible, if money slips through your fingers the moment you get it, if wealth feels like a foreign language you were never taught to speak. Because this isn't about being bad with money, this is about trauma. And trauma doesn't just live in your past, it lives in your nervous system, your sense of safety, your body, and yes, even your bank account. Because financial trauma and money wounds aren't some cute little TikTok buzzwords. It's real, it's physiological, and if it's unhealed, it can affect everything: your career, your relationships, your body, your ability to receive, hold, and grow wealth. Because trauma doesn't just live in the mind, it stores itself in your nervous system, your tissues, your behaviors. It replays in your decision making. It shows up in your relationship with money every single time. So if you've experienced any kind of trauma in your life, do not be surprised if your financial situation has left you exasperated. Do not be surprised if you can't seem to save, if you live hand to mouth, or if you make money, you blow through it just as fast. Lottery winners go bankrupt all the time. That's not about numbers, that's about nervous systems. Financial wounds are deeply triggering because they strike at something so fundamental: our self-worth, how we're seen, how we survive in this world. This isn't just about budgeting apps and cutting back on lattes. This is about your right to exist in abundance. And when trauma is running the show, that right gets buried under shame, scarcity, fear of judgment, and survival coping. You might find yourself asking, why can't I just hold on to money? Why do I always sabotage when things get good? Why do I feel guilty for wanting more? Why am I terrified to ask, to charge, to receive? Let me tell you why. Because trauma trains you to not need, to not ask, to not be seen, to not want too much, to be small enough to stay safe. And then money becomes wrapped up in that exact same pattern. You're not just afraid to overdraft your account, you're afraid to be labeled as greedy. You're afraid to be judged. You're afraid to become visible, powerful. You're afraid to expand. So when there's lack in your bank account, ask yourself, where else is there lack in my life? Do I feel undeserving in love? Do I feel guilty asking for support? Have I been taught that I don't have a right to want? Because the truth is, your financial world is a reflection of your internal world. If there is chronic lack out there, it's time to go in here and ask, what part of me still believes I'm not allowed to receive? And that's why this work matters, because trauma, especially financial trauma, destroys our ability to manifest, attract, or sustain wealth. Not because we don't want it, but because deep down we don't believe we deserve it. Not unless we earn it through suffering, not unless we hustle for it, not unless we betray ourselves to get it. But here's the thing, wealth does not come to the most intelligent. It doesn't even come to the most qualified. It comes to those who feel safe having it. And if your nervous system has been wired for chaos, then wealth is going to feel like a threat, not a blessing. That's why I talk about this, because we can't budget our way out of trauma. We can't affirm our way out of survival mode. We have to release it from the body, from the breath, from the root. This is where I get personal, because I'm not just sitting here preaching. I've lived through this. I did martial arts for 5 years, which helped me move trauma through my body. And I quit that last year and started yoga, breath work. Breath work, oh my God, that's a non-negotiable for me. I start every morning with breath work. And of course, meditation. Not because I'm trying to be zen, but because it's how I unhook myself from the nervous system patterns that once kept me stuck. And let me tell you, healing doesn't always look pretty. Sometimes it's sobbing on a mat. Sometimes it's facing the grief of who you had to be to survive. Sometimes it's realizing that your parents' money beliefs were rooted in fear and deciding that their ceiling won't be your ceiling. Because healing financial trauma isn't about spreadsheets. It's about feeling safe enough to receive. It's about saying, I'm allowed to want more. It's about knowing I am not greedy for desiring overflow. It's about reclaiming your right to thrive. So if this hits something in you, let that be your invitation to go deeper, to start the real work, the inner work. Because this isn't just about money. It's about your nervous system, your worth, your identity. You deserve a life where abundance doesn't feel terrifying. You deserve to feel safe, supported, and free. And if you want a place to start, my Money Shadow Work Journal is here for you. It's not about surface level manifesting. It's about releasing shame, rewiring beliefs, and reprogramming the story you inherited. Because what was programmed can be reprogrammed, and what once kept you stuck doesn't have to define your future. And if you haven't taken my Money Wound quiz, I encourage you to take it. It'll give you clarity on what kind of money wound you have and how you're subconsciously repelling wealth. It's completely free and it'll take only 2 minutes of your time. Thank you for watching, sending you love, and I shall see you in a jiffy.